concept should be clear to you. Now all of you are aware about why we are using a constructor. Yes, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me why we use that constructor?
It doesn't have written tag.
It doesn't have written type, but why we use that constructor? What happens when we use a constructor in our program?
It will initialize when we create the object.
To initialize the variables with certain values.
Yes, to initialize the variables with certain values. Normally, if we wanted to initialize our variables, what we need to do? We need to write a separate getter or the setter method, right? Only with that we will be able to initialize our variables of a program or the variables which you have declared in your class, right? So that means you need to have a separate function then for that. So instead of writing that function every time and then calling that function, we can have a constructor which will get automatically invoked the moment you will create your object. That is the use of your constructor. Okay. Now what is the destructor? Now like your constructor initializes the variables. With the help of a constructor, what happens? It initializes the variables of the class. And what it is doing? Actually, a constructor means what happens when it is doing that, when the object gets created. So that means in a memory it will create the space for the object, and at the same time that it will make sure that that object should hold the space for all the variables with its values. Okay, that is the work of your constructor. Now when we are talking about a destructor, so as the name, you can see the name itself says that it is used to destroy. So the destructor is used to destroy the object that have been created by your constructor. So whatever the objects that you have created using constructors, all that objects will get destroyed when you will use a destructor. Okay, so destructor is also like your member function whose name will be same as your class name. But how we will classify between constructor and destructor? So to identify or to classify your constructor with the destructor, there will be a tilde sign in front of your destructor, which we don't have in the constructor. That I will show you in the program. So like suppose now if I wanted to create, suppose my class is, here I am creating one class. Is the screen visible, students? Yes, students.
Yes, ma'am, it's
See,
visible.
so what I have written class ABC. Now to create a constructor of this class ABC, what I will write? ABC, then like this I will write. Yes, students. To create a null constructor, suppose, or to create one particular constructor, I will write it like this. This is what called as your constructor. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So in the same program, if I wanted to create the destructor, like suppose constructor mein, what is my task is to initialize all the values, all the variables with certain values. Then suppose after that I am calling a particular method with which I am performing a particular action on that variables. After that values are also used. You are performing some task also with that values. Now everything is done. Now there is no need of that variables or there is no need of that particular object. So then you can call a destructor. So destructor normally gets called at the end of your program, but you have to write it inside your class. So if you wanted to write the destructor will also have the same name as your class name. So I have to write it as ABC only. ABC, and it is like a same. It is a member function only. Member function having the same class name, but the only difference between your constructor and destructor is it will have this tilde sign at the beginning of your function name. So whenever you have a tilde sign followed by your class name, it is what called as your destructor. Understood? Understood, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Now just listen some of the properties of the destructor. Now, destructor like your constructor, it will also not take any actually constructor takes the argument, but destructor will not take any argument and it will not return any value also. Like constructor also don't return any value, destructor also don't return any value. And it will be invoked implicitly by the compiler upon exit from your program. Like the moment you are reaching it to return 0. जब भी तुम लोग कोड का एंड में when you will reach your compiler reach to the last line of the code, that time it will call destructor. So your destructor will get invoked only at that time wherever you have written in your program, though you have written above constructor, but it will get invoked only at the end of your program. Okay, so what will happen at the end? What it will do, it will release the memory which is occupied by all the variables of your class. Understood? So whatever the so what it will do, it will clean up the storage which will be no longer accessible to the program now. So actually it is very good practice to have a destructor in your program, because it is releasing the memory which is being occupied by certain variables, and that memory then can be used for your future variables or whatever the new things that you will do. Now, whenever you are using new keyword I might have told you. Now, whenever you are using this new keyword, it is used to allocate the memory. Okay. So, like the way new keyword is used to allocate the memory, we have a delete keyword to free that memory. Okay. So, destructor also helps to free the memory using that delete keyword also. So, we'll see now one example of this destructor so that it will be easier for you to understand them. So, now I'll write count is equal to 0. Suppose now my class name is alpha. What is my class name? Alpha. So now I will create one constructor alpha, where inside which what I will be doing, I will be incrementing that count variable, count plus plus, and then I am printing cout number of object created. This count will give you the number of objects created. So just print the value of that count. Okay. Now since we have created the constructor, we will create the destructor also. So now how the destructor will have the same name as your class name. Inside this, we will print out fashion number of objects. Now what will happen? What we'll be doing? We'll be decrementing the value of the count when our destructor will get called. So what we'll be doing? We'll be doing C count minus minus. Okay. Now we'll close our main function. Sorry, we'll close our class. Inside main now, what we will write? Out main function. Now here what I am doing is alpha. I am creating the objects a1, comma a2, comma a3, comma a4. These are all the objects that I am creating of class alpha. Okay. Now what happens? Now suppose inside the inner block I am writing. This is not the block for your objects. Huh? This is the inner block just I am creating inside the main. Here I wanted to print cout slash n inside inner block. Or suppose inside I have inner block, you just write inside BLO. Suppose I am giving the name to this block as block 1. Block मतलब ये जो brackets है इसको मैं block 1 बोल रही हूँ. This bracket, whole bracket, I am calling it as block 1. Inside block 1. So I just wanted to see and inside this block 1 now I will create one more object alpha A5. A4 तक already create किया है तो मैंने A5 create किया. Now I am creating another block and I am printing cout inside block 2. Here what I am doing, I am creating one more object alpha A6. Now close this bracket also. Now outside this bracket, cout, I am printing re-enter and then return 0. See, there is no need to call your destructor. Destructor will get called automatically when your program ends. Okay, or when you reach to the last line. Okay, now just see how exactly this program will get executed. Before that, let me explain this code to you. What we have done in this program, I hope all of you are there, there students. Yes, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I think only girls are there. No boys are there, no?
Here we are.
Suprit is there. Okay. So listen. Now what happens? See, in this program, what we are doing, initially I have in above the class, I have initialized this count variable equals to 0. Okay. तो पहले हमने क्या किया, इसको global declaration किया. This is what we call it as. This we call it as global declaration. Yes, students? No.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have declared this count is equal to 0. Now we have created one class alpha, and inside this class we have created one constructor. So this is what my class constructor, alpha ka constructor hai. What we are doing inside this constructor, the moment your constructor gets called, your count variable we are incrementing it. Right, and then depending upon how many times we will call that constructor, that many times your count will get incremented, and we are printing the value of that count, like whether it got created means how many objects are created. Like when your object will get created or when you will create the object, your constructor will get invoked. राइट तो पहला ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट करोगे तो एक बार कंस्ट्रक्टर इन्वोक होगा तो वो कंस्ट्रक्टर एग्जीक्यूट होगा. राइट, सो ऑब्जेक्ट कितना, मतलब द नंबर ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएटेड विल बी व्हाट 1. सेकेंड टाइम ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट करोगे तो अगेन काउंट इंक्रीमेंट होगा, तो लाइक नंबर ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट्स क्रिएटेड विल बी कितना होगा 2 होगा. सो लाइक दैट वी आर डूइंग इट इन दिस कंस्ट्रक्टर. Okay, now the way we have constructor, what I said, same way we can have the destructor also in our program. What is the use of the destructor? Whatever the memory allocated by your constructor to the variables and the object, to release that memory, to free up that memory, we need to have a destructor. Okay, so it is a good practice to use the destructor in your program, which is having the same name as your class name, but it will have a tilde sign at the beginning so that we can differentiate between constructor and the destructor. So this is the destructor you have. Now what we are doing, when your destructor will get called at the end of the program, means when you have finished using all your variables, you have finished using all your objects that time. So one by one you will be releasing all the memory allocated to your objects. So one by one you are destroying your object. Okay, so that's why that count value, what we are doing, we are decrementing it inside this. Okay, now see what happens in the main. Now when your compiler, when we'll execute this program, your execution will start from main. So the first statement that you will get it in your output will be this one, inside main function. Yes or no, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Then after that, what we are doing, we are creating certain objects. How many objects we are creating here? 4 objects we are creating. Yes, but at a time all the 4 objects create होगा क्या? नहीं, पहले object A1 ही create होगा. So first you will create object A1. What will happen the moment you will create object A1?
It will call alpha, the constructor.
Yes, the moment you will create object A1, it will call your constructor alpha. Constructor alpha call होगा सिर्फ. So if you call constructor alpha, what will happen here? It will see that you have to do count plus plus. So it will check whether your count is initialized before. So yes, count is initialized before. It is initialized globally only. So count is having value 0. It will get incremented to 1. So your count will become 1 and you will get on your screen, you will get number of object created equals to what? What you will get? 1. Yes. So number of object created, you will get 1. Okay. Now you are done with execution of this. ये number of object created 1 हो गया. ये bracket close हो गया. So that means it will come out of this constructor. So again it will come back to main. Now it will go to this A2. अभी second object create हो गया A2. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
अभी again what will happen when you are creating this object A2?
Again, it will call the constructor.
Again it will call the constructor. Now what will be the value of count and what will get printed?
2.
2. The count value will become 2 and that's why you will get on your screen that number of objects created 2. Okay, again it will come back over here. Same thing will happen to 3 and 4. So you will get number of objects created to 4. So what will be the last value of your count? It will be 4.
Yes, ma'am.
After creating this A4, the count value will become 4. Okay, and you will get number of object created 1, number of object created 2, number of object created 3 and number of object created 4. These 4 statements you will get. Okay, now after doing that, now you are done with all the 4 objects. So what will happen? It will go to the next line. So this block will get open. Inside this block, now this statement will get printed inside block 1. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Now when this inside block 1 gets executed, after that you can see that your block is not yet over. So it will go to the next line. Now what you are doing in next line? What do you mean by this one?
We are creating object.
Again we are creating one more object. So what will happen then when A5 gets created?
It will invoke the constructor.
Again it will invoke the constructor. Yes, very good. So A5 will invoke the constructor. So again it will go to that constructor and the count will get incremented to 5. So number of objects created, you will get it as 5. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, everyone. I want the answer from everyone else also.
Yes.
Okay. So when you are executing this, so you are one more time your constructor gets invoked and these statements get executed. So you are now getting the number of object created 5. Now after that, can you see that this block is getting closed? मतलब अभी ये block का use खत्म हो गया? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the lifetime of this block got over. So lifetime of this block got over means what? Whatever you have inside this block, that is of no use now. So now what you have inside this block, ये तो just एक statement है जो तुम्हें print करना है. But this object also you will be releasing now because you are closing that particular block. Closing this block means what? Whatever you have inside this block, that was only for that particular block. We are not going to use it, and you can see it later also in the below program. We have not used that alpha A5 anywhere else in the program. A5 object और कहीं पे use भी नहीं किया. So that means now I don't need this A5. Since I can see this closing bracket, so this closing bracket will call your destructor. what it will do? It will call your destructor, and now this destructor function will get executed. And what will happen now? What was the latest value of your count?
5.
5. So here you will get the number of object destroyed will be 5. 5 मतलब fifth वाला object destroy हो जाएगा, and count will become minus minus, so count will become 4, because ये A5 वाला object अभी destroy हो जाएगा, because we are not going to use it anymore. We are closing that inner block, so that's why वो object destroy हो जाएगा, उसका memory release हो जाएगा. So what will happen when you are closing this bracket? कभी होगा ये closing bracket call होने के बाद immediately your destructor will get called and these statements will get executed. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is the value of count now after calling this destructor?
4.
4. Remember that. Okay. Now again we have opened another inner block. Now see what is happening in this inner block. What is written inside block 2? This will get printed, and now you are creating one more object. Yes? I want somebody else to give the answer now. We are creating one more object. Okay. Now this A6 we are creating. What will happen? Constructor will get invoked. Okay. So constructor will get invoked, and what will happen then? What will be the value of count now?
Ma'am, the count will be 5.
Yes, count will again become 5, because यहाँ पे हमारा destructor call हुआ था, तो count minus minus होके उसका value 4 हो गया था. But since we are creating an object again over here, so count will again get incremented to 5, and again you will get number of object created 5. Understood? And then after that, now again you are closing this bracket. So what will happen at the close of this bracket? What will happen?
Destructor will invoke.
Destructor will get called. Again your count value will get decremented, and you will have the latest value of count as
4.
Yes. And then finally you will get the statement as re-enter main. Now after re-enter main, what happens now? You have return 0. So that means now you have come to end of your program. Return 0 matlab kya? Abhi you can release all the memories which is occupied by all the objects of the class. So one by one, what will happen now when return 0? Just a minute. See student, when we have executed this alpha A6, our count value again got incremented to 5. But when we have closed this block, it again got decremented, and we got count value as 4. Okay. So the latest count value we have, that is 4. And number of objects also we have as 4. Okay. Now after executing this return 0, it means now we have to release the memory which is occupied by all the objects. So every time what will happen? It will call one by one this destructor function. So अभी तुम्हारा number of जो fourth object है that will get destroyed. So the destructor will get called when you are reaching to return 0, and number of object destroy कितना कौन सा होगा? Fourth object destroy होगा, and count will become 3. But again you have seen, again when it will come to main, it will come to know that all the objects are not yet released. So again it will call the destructor, and number of object destroyed will be what? The third object also will get destroyed, and you will get count minus minus equals to 2, which will be equal to 2. So second, now you have second object. So again constructor will destructor will get called, your second object also will get destroyed, your count will become 1. And then you again destructor will get called, and that one object which is remaining, that will also get destroyed, and your count will become 0. Once your count will become 0, then your closed program will end. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So now I'll just execute it, and then you just see whatever I said, the same output you will get. See. First time what we are getting inside main function, number of objects created 1, 2, 3, 4. Why we got 4 times it got printed? Because we have created this what 4 objects. So that's why we got number of objects created 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes or no? Yes, students.
Yes, ma'am.
Then we are there inside this block 1. Inside block 1 में आने के बाद क्या है, और एक ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट कर रहे हो तो you will get number of object created 5. Inside block 1 number of object created 5. Since you are closing that block, so the moment you will close your block, your destructor will get called and you will get number of object destroyed 5th. मतलब 5th object is getting destroyed. Then you are coming inside block 2. So inside block 2 again you are creating one more object, that is A6. So what will happen? You will get number of object created 5, and when you are closing it you will get number of object destroyed 5. Now when you will come to main, so it will print re-enter main, and after re-enter main what happens, one by one all the objects will get destroyed. So you'll get number of object destroyed 4, then number of object destroyed 3, number of object destroyed 2, number of object destroyed 1. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, everyone, is this clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
So all of you please copy this program. Let me know if you are done, students. Done, everyone?
Wait, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you show the output one more time?
So now that was the last topic of your constructors. So we'll be moving it to the new topic now. Anybody's having any doubt with this? Students?
No, ma'am.
So we are moving it to the third unit, where we'll be learning about functions overloading and operator overloading. So first of all, let's understand what do you mean by this function overloading. As I have told you, like whenever we have, see in a program we can use as many number of functions as we want. Okay. And whenever you have, whenever you are using this concept of overloading functions or overloading operator, this is the property of polymorphism, where we have learned polymorphism means what? Having many forms. You are talking about one object, but how that object can be represented with different forms. As if you remember, I gave you the example of shapes. Shape is one object, but that can have many forms. As we can talk about the shape of a triangle, we can talk about the shape of a rectangle, we can talk about the shape of a circle, or whatever it is. All this belongs to the family of shape, right? So this is what called as your polymorphism. So we will learn exactly how we can do this function overloading or operator overloading, and what do we mean by operator overloading, and what are the different operators we have that we are going to learn in this chapter. Okay, so now when we are talking about function overloading, what does it mean? What exactly you can understand by function overloading is, first of all you should understand why it is called as function overloading. Overload matlab kya hota hai? What do you mean by overload?
Something is beyond the capacity.
Okay, by the word if you'll go, you will say that overload means something is beyond the capacity. Okay, but here the word overload means what? Like suppose I have one program, and in that program I wanted to calculate the area. I wanted to calculate the area of a particular shape, right? So I have a function called as area. Okay. Now when I am using this function area, I don't know for what purpose I am using. Depending upon what all input the user will provide me, I will calculate the area of a particular object. If suppose the user is entering the radius or user is giving me the input as radius, then in that case I will calculate the area of circle. If the user is giving me the input as length and breadth, then I will calculate the area of rectangle. Okay. If the user is giving me the input as height and width, I will calculate triangle, area of triangle. So like that, depending upon what input user is giving, I can calculate different areas. But my main common function area will be same. Okay. What I'm saying, my common function which I have, that is area, that will be same. So when you have this same function overloaded, same function written again and again in your program, that is what called as your function overloading. What I said, whenever you have same function name written again and again in your program, it is called as your function overloading. Are you getting, students?
Yes.
But Abhi, how you will identify that which function is getting called? So what happens, function overloading is having one more concept. So I will write that program and then it will be easier for you to understand. Just a minute. See, we will see one simple program of this function overloading, and then we will use it with the class also. Okay. Now, a simple program without class, I am writing it now. I am writing int volume with one parameter as integer, double comma integer. I have int main. I have declared this function. All these are functions. Int volume, double volume, ये सब मेरा function declaration है. The functions which I declared outside my main. Okay. And in main, I am just calling them. Sorry. Here I am writing cout then you have to give one double value and one integer value. Now here you need to write the function body int volume. एक पैरामीटर पास करना है तो आई एम पासिंग इट एज एस. सो व्हाट यू वांटेड टू डू, वॉल्यूम कैसे कैलकुलेट होता है? वॉल्यूम ऑफ अ क्यूब, हाउ यू विल कैलकुलेट? इट विल बी एस क्यूब. सो इट विल बी एस इंटू एस इंटू एस. Then volume of a cylinder, how you will be calculating? So double R radius into height int h. Radius and height we want, so it will return 3.14 into R square h. That is how we will calculate the volume of cylinder. So R into h. Then we have long volume, which is rectangular box. Long value, comma int d, comma length, breadth and height. For volume it is length, breadth and volume of a box, it will be length, breadth and height. So you will be returning L into B into H. This is what the function definition you have written for each one of the function. I can write this function definition before main also, or I can write it out after main also. That doesn't matter. Okay. So here I will just write for your understanding. This is calculating the volume of rectangular. This is for calculating the volume of cylinder. and this is for calculating the volume of cube. Okay. See, now all of you, can you see the function name is same? Volume, volume, volume. Yes, students?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have function name same, but are the parameters same for each one of the function?
No, it differs.
They differ. Yes, everyone? Yes, everyone. For each one of that volume function, is your parameter same or different? Parameters or arguments? All the arguments are different, right? Here, for the volume of cube, you require only one parameter or only one argument. For volume of cylinder, you require two arguments. And for volume of rectangular box, you require three arguments. Okay. So when your function name is same, but the parameter number of parameters are different, then it will be called as your function overloading. This type of program is called as function overloading program. When in a program you have a same function name, so it is what called as, see, we are not using volume only once, we are calling that volume thrice in a program. So it is overloaded function. What is called as overloaded function. But what's the difference we have? That function is overloaded with different set of arguments. Are you getting, student? The function is overloaded with different set of arguments. So this is what we have done. This is just our function declarations. We have just done, sorry. These all is your function declaration. Int volume, int, double comma int, long comma int. These are all your function declarations. And then this is the actual body of or actual function body of each one of the function. So cube mein what you should return, and all these are having a return type. So that's why here we are writing a return statement inside it. So return s into s into s. So whatever the value you pass when you are calling that function. अभी मैंने वॉल्यूम ये when I will execute main में when I'll execute this statement, what will happen? Your volume function which is having only one argument, only that volume will get called. So how it will come to know which volume to get executed? It will come to know with the it will come to know with the help of number of arguments that you have passed. So since here I have passed only one value, so volume function having only one argument, only that function will get called, and the other two will not get called even though the function name is same. Clear? Clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what will happen when you are saying volume of 10, it will call this function and it will do 10 into 10 into 10. So if, whatever the answer is, it will give you that answer. So it will give you the answer as 1000. Then I have another, I am calling this volume function again, but here now I am passing two arguments. So the volume which is having two arguments, only that function will get called. Volume function with two arguments will get called. So 2.5 is my radius and 8 is my height. So what it will do? 3.14 into 2.5 into 2.5 into 8, that it will do. Okay, and in the third one I am calling volume with three arguments. So the volume function which is having three parameters, that will get called with L as 100L, B as 75 and H as 15. So when I'll execute this program, shall get the answer like this. I will get 1000 as a volume of cube, 157 as a volume of cylinder, and this 1,12,500 as the volume of rectangular box. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Copy this program also. Done, everyone? Yes, students, done with this program?
Yes,
Done,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Done.
Now we are going to learn a very important concept. So I want all of you to please pay attention because there are so many programs you have on this particular concept and we will not be able to cover all that programs in our practicals. So only important programs I will take it in the practicals, but other programs also you can practice it at home as I told you before also, or whenever you will have a free time in lab, that time also you can practice it. But you please do practice it because then it will be very much clear to you to understand the concept. See now, after understanding
मैम
the concept of yes,
36 लाइन के बाद कुछ है?
एक मिनट नहीं हो गया ना. Since we have written this main above ना, so you must be feeling because of that. Nothing is there. Long volume हो गया ना. Last function हम लोगों ने define किया.
ओके मैम, थैंक यू.
Okay, so what I was saying, this after function overloading, the another important concept that you have is about operator overloading. अभी which all operators you know? In C में कौन सा operators तुम लोगों ने पढ़ा है? Yes, students, what all operators you have studied or what all operators you are aware about?
लॉजिकल ऑपरेटर्स.
Arithmetic operators.
कौन सा
Additional.
operator? Okay, addition. Yes, anything else?
Conditional operator.
Conditional operator, okay. Then
Increment, decrement operator.
increment, decrement operator, okay. What else?
कंपैरिजन ऑपरेटर.
Comparison operator, okay. Anything else?
बिटवाइजर.
Scope resolution operator.
Resolution operator that you have learned here, not in C. Okay. Now, see, whatever the operators that you are aware about, if you are talking about basic programming, our basic operators are what? Plus, minus, all the arithmetic operators that you are using. They will be the basic operators which will be required to perform a simple operation. Yes or no? Yes or no, students?
Yes, ma'am.
If I am doing int a, if I am declaring int a, comma b, comma c, and suppose, sorry, and if I am simply writing c is equal to a plus b, here if I'll execute this program, will it get printed? Will it get printed? Suppose I have written a is equal to 25, b is equal to 30. Yes, students, will it get printed?
Yes, ma'am.
So why you're taking this much time to say yes, ma'am? If I'm writing simple main, I'm just declaring that variable with some values. A is 25, B is 30, and I'm writing C is equal to A plus B. So there should not be any doubt. If I'm writing this program, it will get printed and I'll get some value. I'll get some answer for that C. Because now why we are able to do that addition? How our compiler knows about this plus sign? How does it know that it has to do the addition of the two variables? See, we have learned till now, what all we have learned? Whenever we are writing a program, we have certain variable declaration. अभी हम लोग जब ये variable declare करते हैं, मतलब क्या होता है? Memory में there will be one space allocated for these variables. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
And then at that location, these values will be written. So there will be some address you have at which a is equal to 25 will be written, and at another address b is equal to 30 will be written, and then at some other address The addition of these two, whatever the answer you are getting, that answer will be written. That 55 will be written for some time. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
See, now, since your compiler is knowing that this plus means it has to do the addition of the two numbers. Or if suppose I am writing, even if I am writing the statement as b minus a, even it will be able to perform this also, because it is aware about that minus sign also. So if I'll execute this, I will get the answer for this also as 5. Even if I'll write a into b, even if I'll write a divided by b, whatever the arithmetic operators I know I have, all that arithmetic operators I can use it in my program when I'm talking about main function, because C or C++ compiler is aware about all that operators. Even this equal to is what the assignment operator. It is able to assign that value to that variable because it knows about this operator, right? But does your compiler know about a class? Does your compiler get to know about a class until and unless you are not creating an object? अगर हम लोगों ने ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट ही नहीं किया, like suppose now, suppose for just a simple example, here I will write class dummy. I'll create this class with some variables, or consider that there are something, certain statements you have. Suppose I will write public cout f's. I'm just printing one statement over here. Since it is a class, so I have to close it. Now I am not creating an object of this class, and I will run this. So I'm getting error for this line cout hello fis because you don't know where to how to print this line. Yes or no? See, now what happens? See, or suppose for your understanding, suppose I will create one method also, void display. For display I have created this suppose method, and inside which suppose I am writing cout hello fis. Now I will run this. Is it printing that hello fis?
No, ma'am.
Why it is not printing?
Because we have not created an object.
Yes, we have not created the object of this class. अगर हम लोगों ने ऑब्जेक्ट बनाया नहीं तो ये क्लास एग्जीक्यूट होगा ही नहीं, दो यू हैव रिटन whatever the number of statements in that class. Even if you have created so many functions inside it, it will not get executed until you will not create the object of it. So that means your class is unknown until you are not creating the object of that class. The moment you will create the object, then only your class will get executed. Okay. Now another example, let me show you. If suppose now here I am declaring, here also suppose I am declaring certain variables int x comma y comma z, and suppose I am writing, or suppose y is equal to 15, and I am writing z is equal to x plus y. Cout z is equal to, statement gets printed. Will this statement gets printed? अभी इधर z का वैल्यू कैलकुलेट होगा स्टूडेंट्स?
It will calculate, but it will not print.
No, it will not calculate. How it will calculate? It is not going inside the class only, na? Still we have not created the object. So what I said, whatever the things you will write inside the class, it is of no use until and unless you are not creating the object. Okay, so I have told you that it is of no use if you have not created any object. Now suppose I am creating the object of this class dummy D करके मैंने object create किया. What else I have to do? I have to call D dot display, that function I have to call to get it executed. Yes or no? Yes or no, student?
Yes, ma'am.
Now will it get executed?
Yes, it will get executed.
Yes, others? Will it get executed?
Yes.
Yes, everyone else?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So now just see what is happening. I think that 5 we got it of this one. Got it? It is getting printed. Okay, it is getting printed. But the problem is what I wanted to tell you. See, now since your program, until and unless we are not telling, we are not creating the object and then we are not calling the function, that function will not function of a class, or your class will not get executed. That is one thing. Another thing is you should now see the plus sign which I am using. It is an operator, and that operator can be used for concatenating two strings also. Yes or no? Or it can be used for addition also. So how will I get to know for what purpose I have to make use of that operator? If since my class is a user defined program, just a minute. See, since your class is a user defined program, that's why what happens, compiler is not aware about that particular class. So we are creating object inside main function. Okay, that is first thing. Other thing is your compiler also doesn't know how you are using that operators inside your class. So you should define the meaning of that operator to your compiler, so that the compiler will understand for what purpose you are using that operator plus, or for what purpose you are using that operator minus, or for what purpose you are using. There are so many operators you have which you can overload. When you are giving special meaning to a particular operator, it is what called as your operator overloading. Are you getting, students? Whenever you are giving a special meaning to your operator, that operator is what called as overloaded operator. Okay, and this is one of the new feature that is added in your C++ language, and it is one of the most important technique also. And so what happens, C++ is having an ability to provide operator with some special meaning for a particular data type, and this is what called as your operator overloading. Okay, so what we can do, we can there are so many operators which we can overload, but except few. So which all operators we cannot overload? We cannot overload our scope resolution operator. We cannot overload your conditional operators. You cannot overload our size operator, that is size of operator which we use to know the size of a particular variable. So that we cannot overload. And class member access operator, like that dot operator which we are using to access our functions. Only these operators we cannot overload. Rest all whatever the operators you know, logical and, logical or, your all the arithmetic operators, your less than, that is this I stream and O stream operator which you are using, even that operators you can overload. Your assignment operator, all these operators you can overload. So to overload these operators, there is a particular syntax you have. So what is the syntax of overloading an operator? All of you please note down the syntax of overloading an operator. So to overload an operator, it is again like you will be creating a function. So you will be writing a function will always have a return type. Okay, followed by class name, then the scope resolution operator. Then you need to write the operator keyword. You need to write the operator keyword followed by which operator? That is, if suppose you have plus, so you will write plus sign. If suppose you wanted to overload minus operator, then you will write minus sign. And then your argument list. And then your function body. All of you please note down the syntax of overloading an operator. Done everyone?
Done, ma'am.
Now we'll see one simple example of this operator overloading for today and then we will stop. Now all of you just see this program. First you understand this program and then we will move to the, then you can copy the program. Okay, listen everyone. Now we have class sample. Okay, in which I have declared three variables x, y and z. And then in public I have that get data method to initialize these variables with three parameters int a, int b, int c. Then I have one display method. Then this is what your operator function declaration. This is what called as operator function declaration. Okay. Which operator you want to use? I wanted to use minus. Now this I am using on, this is called as your unary minus operator. क्योंकि एक single operator we are using. Whenever you are using single operator, we will be calling it as unary. And if you are using it with two operands, it will be called as binary. So we will be using only one operand in this. That's why it will be called as, the heading you can give it for this program is overloading unary minus operator. What you will give? Overloading unary minus operator. Okay, so now just see here what I am doing. I have written void operator, this operator keyword, and there is a minus sign over here. This is a minus because I am overloading this operator. I wanted to overload this. Okay, first I have written this get data method. तो ये class के बाहर मैंने क्या किया? पहले get data method लिखा. Void sample scope resolution get data int a, int b, int c, and I have assigned that values to my variables x, y, z. Then I have written this display in which your display function in which I am displaying the values of x, y and z. Then what I said, what is the syntax of writing your operator function? First will be your return type, then your class name, then the scope resolution operator, then operator keyword followed by what? Minus sign. Minus sign means what? Whichever operator you are using, and then the argument list if you have anything. Okay. So you will be writing x is equal to minus x. Okay. Now what you wanted to do inside this? You want whatever the variables you have, if you wanted to negate that variables. What I wanted to do, I wanted to negate that variables. मतलब x, y, z का value already मैं कुछ तो दे रही हूँ, and now I wanted to negate, do the negation of that values. So for that I am using this unary minus operator. So that means अगर negation करना है तो मुझे क्या लिखना पड़ेगा? X is equal to minus x, y is equal to minus y and z is equal to minus z. तो वो value negate हो जाएगा. Are you getting? Are you getting, students?
Ma'am, can you repeat again?
हाँ, see, listen. अभी क्या करना है हमें? Like normally in a program, in a class, when we are using an operator, actually वो compiler को पता नहीं रहता है for what purpose you are using that you are using that operator, whichever operator is. So to give a special meaning to that operator, we are performing this operator overloading. तो ये class में मैंने अभी 3 functions लिखा है. First function is get data to initialize my variables x, y, z with abc. Okay. Second is to display the values of x, y, z. And third is I wanted to negate the values of this x, y, z. That is the operator function I am writing. So I am writing void operator minus and then bracket. Okay. Now this function definition I have to write outside the class. So I will write void sample get data int a, comma int b and int c, where I have initialized this variable with abc. Okay. Same way I am writing display just to display the values of x, y, z. Now I wanted to write the operator function. तो ऑपरेटर फंक्शन कैसे लिखना है? अभी जस्ट मैंने आपको इसका सिंटैक्स दिया था. फर्स्ट यू शुड राइट रिटर्न टाइप. तो रिटर्न टाइप क्या है इसका? वॉइड. सो हियर आल्सो आई विल राइट वॉइड. देन योर क्लास नेम. सो माय क्लास नेम इज सैंपल. देन द स्कोप रेजोल्यूशन ऑपरेटर, सॉरी this one. Then the class name, then the scope resolution operator. Then you need to write the operator keyword followed by which operator you wanted to overload. कौन सा operator का meaning आपको compiler को बताना है? So I wanted to tell the meaning of this minus operator. I am using it as unary minus operator. Okay. Now, and inside that function, what exactly you wanted to do, that you will write. Inside it, what you will write inside that function, you will write what exactly you wanted to do with that minus sign. तो वो माइनस साइन से मुझे क्या करना है? वॉट एवर द वेरिएबल्स आई हैव इन माई क्लास, आई वॉन्टेड टू निगेट दैट वेरिएबल्स. So that's why I am writing x is equal to minus x, y is equal to minus y, and z is equal to minus z. Okay. Now, when you will come to the main, what I am doing, I am creating the object of my class with s dot get data. I am calling that get data function with this value. So what will happen when I am calling get data? This get data function will get called with a ka value as 10, b ka value as minus 50, and c ka value as 60. So what will be the value of x?
10.
X will be 10, y will be
Minus 50.
z will be
60.
then you are printing this value when with your calling s dot display. When you will call s dot display, जो भी values अभी तुम लोगों ने बोला वो same values print होगा. Now after that, what you are writing? You are just writing this minus sign and s. S is what? Your object. That means what you are doing? Now you are negating your object. Whatever the values you have with your object, now you wanted to negate that value. So when you are writing this minus s, your operator function will get called. Are you getting? You don't have to call your operator function separately. When you are writing this minus s, automatically your operator function will get called. Because यहाँ पे हमने लिखा है कौन सा operator हमें use करना है? Minus. So we have written that minus over here. With what? With your object s. Right? So when you will call now this minus s जब भी call करोगे तो ये execute होगा. So whatever the value of x you have, that will become minus x. Whatever the value of y you will have, that will become minus y. And whatever the value of z you will have, that will become minus z. So when you will display, what you will get? When you will call s dot display, now what you will get? पहले x का value क्या है? ये value है. x was 10. When you will call minus s, s will become minus 10. X will become minus 10. Y will become 50. And z will become minus 60. Yes or no, students? See, now when I'll run this, see the output. See, initially I have x value as 10, y value as minus 50, z value as 60. When I have called that operator function, my x value has become minus 10, y value, because minus minus plus हो गया, तो y value becomes 50 and z value becomes minus 60. We are just negating a value. We can do x is equal to x minus x, y is equal to y minus y. ऐसा भी कर सकते हैं हम लोग. But there is no point of writing it that way. Then it will do 10 minus 10 like that it will do. That's why.
Ma'am, what if we write x minus x into 10? X into 2, sorry.
X into 2, see, that is then you will be using multiplication operator. Carefully you have joined now. What time you have joined carefully?
Ma'am, 10 minutes ago, ma'am.
So then how can you join 10 minutes before and then you ask? That means you have missed everything before. Before whatever I said. And last moment में ऐसा तुम लोग join करके, see there is no point. Only for the attendance purpose if you are joining. Next time onwards I don't want anybody to join at the last moment. See, just by seeing the attendance also we can find out who is joining at what time.
Yes, ma'am. It was because of network issue, ma'am. From morning, GeoNet is not working in my area, ma'am. And also light was also not there.
See, we are accepting that doesn't mean that every time you will be giving some or other reasons. Maybe it will be a valid reason. Yes.
जियो का टावर ही ऐसा चलता है, मैं भी हॉटस्पॉट लेके बैठा हूँ एयरटेल। जियो का टावर ही मतलब बहुत टाइम इशू आता है।
Okay, then see, if you have joined late, so that means you was not there when I have explained the previous topic. So immediately you cannot come and ask the whatever the doubts you have. You listen then carefully.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, because now I cannot explain you why that multiplication is not there. I have already told, see, when we are using one operator, at a time we can use only one operator. We cannot mix all the operators all together in operator overloading. Are you getting everybody? See here what I said, we are giving the meaning of one particular operator to the compiler. We are telling to the compiler what operator we are going to use and how we are going to use. So at that time we cannot mix it with any other operator. Is this clear to everyone? Yes, students.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What about the others? Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so just copy this program and then we will stop for today. See, don't think that I don't like you people asking any doubts. You can ask me the doubts, but only thing is that, see, when you have missed your class, so that time if you have missed and if you have joined at the last moment, because of some reason, only if it is a valid reason, then you please wait, you understand the full concept again, or you wait for getting your things clear, whatever you have missed. Then you ask the doubts, because then suddenly at a moment, if because whatever the doubt, if without listening the previous topic, if you'll ask the doubt, your doubt will be silly. Are you getting? I don't want to humiliate anyone. I don't want to discourage anyone. I means I really accept if you ask the doubts, and I tell to the other teachers also, those who are active in my online lectures, about them. So I know you are active, you're doing everything, that all is accepted. But when you are late, or when you are not there for a particular topic, or when certain topics are not clear to you, you don't move to the next topic and ask any doubts. That is the only thing. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry,
So
ma'am. Ma'am,
so
actually, I have
don't
friend
feel,
one of ma'am.
see, I
Yes,
don't
ma'am.
need sorry. I don't feel bad. I just wanted to tell you. I just wanted to clear this. Okay. This is for everyone. I'm ready
Ma'am,
for any
actually,
kind of
I
doubts.
asked one of my friend. He told that you finished doing instructors, and now you started new topics. So that's why I asked him.
Okay. Okay.